All right, welcome back. We continue hot and heated. I told you it was going to be this way, and that's the way it's gone today with this game. Let's talk about what happened with Rob Gronkowski. Tim, everyone knew that he was back. You can argue he shouldn't have been back, and I believe that one-game suspension was a joke. He shouldn't have been eligible for this game based on what he did. To equate that with Juju Smith-Schuster's suspension makes no sense, but that story has come and gone. But what do the Steelers do if they have to play him again, and why didn't they double him more?
Well, first of all, I thought one game was enough for Gronk. I didn't have a problem
Why?
with it only being one game. Because you don't go back in time and suspend somebody an extra game because you gave somebody another game suspension the day after. I don't think you go back.
A guy after the play, deliberately attempting to hit him in the head, and he did, and he has a concussion. You don't think that
I thought it deserved
more?
one game. Yeah.
No.
Well, they didn't, Bob, they had a dude try to go in the stands the other day, and they didn't suspend him at all. So, I mean, where do you want to – this is kind of like the end zone rule we just argued about for 20 minutes.
We can argue about consistency, but I think you could look at what Gronk did in Buffalo and clearly look at it and say, oh, well, what that guy just did, elbowing someone in the back of the head, is clearly more than a one-game
Well, the bigger
suspension.
problem is they could have elbowed him in the back of the head tonight. Sean Davis and Sean Spence and everybody else both, and he still would have had 150 yards receiving. They have no answer for him. And until, Ryan Shazier comes back healthy, which unfortunately may never happen. We don't know. We don't even know if he's going to walk again. But he was supposed to be the Gronk antidote, and they didn't have a chance to have that turn out to actually be the case tonight because Shazier was so severely injured. Davis was supposed to help in that regard too, but he's not enough.
No, and I don't. It was obvious in the second half on that first drive of the third quarter that the Patriots put together that Davis wasn't going to be able to hang with him. And we saw Mike Hilton, I thought, make a couple of nice plays in coverage on Gronk. And I would have liked to seen a little bit more of him in the second half on Gronkowski. You can't leave it up to one guy. One guy, unless it is, again, a healthy Ryan Shazier, I don't think. And even then, nobody's going to match up one-on-one with Gronk for the bulk of a game and completely shut him down or even limit him. So to leave Sean Davis on an island with him, I understand that we're going with the man press coverage. Everybody was on an island to an extent in tonight's game, especially in the second half and coverage against the Patriots. Didn't work with Sean Davis. And I don't know how to fix that.
It's funny, kind of funny. The offensive series before, they were ultra conservative, ended up having to punt. And then they get on defense and they get real aggressive and they're trying to go after it. And I don't have a problem necessarily except for why are you leaving anybody on an island with Gronkowski? I mean, the fact that he was able to run free through the secondary like that was absolutely absurd.
Yeah, well, it was what it was, and that's what you expect when he's on that surface. He makes plays. He has historically against the Steelers over the years. Now let's talk about where they are right now. They're going to lose Antonio Brown for the rest of the regular season. I don't think there's a guarantee here that they're going to win both games, but I would think that they should win both games, which gives them a number 2 seed. So, Chris, when you see that, what's your take on where they are right now, given the fact that we still don't have a clarity on Antonio Brown's injury?
I think as a number 2 seed, there's a really strong likelihood you're looking at Jacksonville in your first playoff game at home. And we saw what Jackson, albeit in one of Ben Roethlisberger's worst games of his career earlier this season, when this offense was playing much differently. So I don't know if I'd rather have Jacksonville at home in the divisional round or a Kansas City or a Baltimore perhaps. But it certainly hurts that once you survive that divisional round, we're talking about going back to Foxborough again. And I think the fact that the officials, I don't want to go back to last segment and re-adjudicate that whole thing, re-argue it, but the fact that the officials basically have decided where home field advantage is going in the AFC was disappointing to me.
Well, I think the thing about it is without Antonio Brown, they should be able to take Smith-Schuster and Martavis Bryant and maybe Ben off the field and still beat the Texans and the Browns. So if they lose either of those games, then they really aren't who we thought they are. I don't know if you watched the Texans today, but that team has quit. They're terrible and the Browns are terrible. So they should be able to survive and get the number 2 seed at the very least. And you know what? There's no guarantee that maybe the Patriots don't drop a game. I know they've got 2 games they should win. So the Steelers still have it all out in front of them for them.
Yeah, I agree with what Chris said about who the first-round matchup will be. There seems to be at least one distinct, discernible trait that Jacksonville has, and that's an ability to get after your passer, even if their passer isn't all that good, and Blake Bortles. That can even things out. We saw that against Ben Roethlisberger and company in the first game. Now, they'll know a little bit better what's coming in that regard, so I think that would help the Steelers. But, hey, Wouldn't be the first time under Mike Tomlin we've seen Jacksonville come here and win twice, right? We're kind of used to how that looks. We saw that in his first year, and I'd hate to see it again here in his, whatever this is, 10th year now or whatever.
Real quick, yes or no, or maybe. The answer would be, because there was a poll I just saw that most people believe that if the Steelers have to go to New England, they really don't have much of a chance. I still think that's why you play the game. You go up there, and we'll see what happens. There's still a lot of football, but what's your take? Yes or no? Can they go there and win in January?
Absolutely. Yes, they can. They could go there and win. And I think when you look at what they played without today, without Antonio Brown for the bulk of the game, without Joe Hayden, and I understand Ryan Shazier isn't coming back for that game, but you'll have those two back, I would think, then yes, they could go to New England and win. They should have won today.
I guess you could put people on Jupiter, too, and they can walk around there without spaceship. I mean, but come on. They've shown there's no evidence at all that they can go there and win in Gillette Stadium. They needed to win today.
Today's not evidence that they can beat the Patriots, Paul?
There's no evidence they can win at Gillette Stadium. Okay. No.
Well, they needed a very fortunate result to even get down to the goal line before the crazy play happened with the officials. Even before that point, Lucy Van Pelton started to rip the football away from the Steelers yet again with New England on the other sideline. This has become to Pittsburgh what Cincinnati is to the Steelers in the other direction. Just the creative, bizarre, weird ways the Steelers have come up with ways to lose games to New England looks like in the other direction what we're used to seeing from Cincinnati whenever they play Pittsburgh.
The only fundamental difference between playing this game at Heinz Field or at Gillette Stadium is that you can't trust your headset at Gillette Stadium if you're the visiting team.
Run more no huddle and crowd noise,
if they won this game today and they had the game here, the AFC Championship game, I'd give them a very good chance of winning. I give them no shot up there.
All right, now it's time for our Smooth Moves segment, brought to you by Armina Stone. It's the largest Pittsburgh supplier of the smoothest granite, marble, and quartz countertops. Check them out, Armina Stone. So, we'll start with you, Tim. What is your Smooth Moves of the week?
It's a tie. I'm going to give one vote to Marc-Andre Fleury for pulling off a replica of the Lidstrom save against the Penguins, this time in that Vegas Fleury versus Murray game. And my other nomination would be whoever woke up James Brown and told him to check his Twitter account and pull down what somebody had done when they hacked it.
I got to give it to you, Pomp, for managing to maintain your composure through all that post-game coverage and the nightly sports call. I watched a lot of it, and by God, you're a saint. I don't know how you do it.
I mean, the easy
one. Practice.
Yeah, the easy one would be Gronkowski, but I'm going to go with the St. Louis Cardinals for going out and getting Marcell Ozuna to bolster their lineup and make them a better team.
You're allowed to do that?
I know it can't compete with the Pirates, emphasizing launch angles this winter,
right.
But it's very close.
All right, those are our Smooth Moves brought to you by Armina Stone. Check them out. They have the smoothest granite countertops you're going to have, and you can bring them right to your kitchen. All you have to do is check it out. Armina Stone gives you the smoothest countertops in the area. Score a touchdown with them. We'll be back right after this.